Imagine for a moment, you're navigating a bustling street in Delhi. You know the scene, the air hums, honking autos, street food smells, and then you see them. The city's, well, ever-present furry residents, stray dogs.
Yeah, they're just part of the landscape.
Exactly. And for generations, this kind of unique coexistence, humans and animals sharing space, sometimes chaotically, it's just been part of everyday life here. But lately, this dynamic, it's taken a really serious turn. It's moving from maybe quirky background noise to a major public challenge.
The very pressing one.
We've been seeing more and more headlines, haven't we? Dog bites, these awful rabies cases. And things have really come to a head now. The Supreme Court of India, they've stepped right into this incredibly complex mess. They made a big move just yesterday, August 13th, 2025. Decided to shift a really high-profile case to a 3-judge bench. And the hearing, it's set for the very next day.
Right.
Today, basically.
That's fast.
So that's our mission today in this deep dive. We're going to try and unpack this whole unfolding situation, look at the facts, the, intense emotions flying around, and the possible solutions people are talking about.
Yeah.
We want to make it really clear, even if you're just, catching up on the news over your morning chai.
And it's interesting, isn't it? As soon as you mention this topic, people tend to jump straight to one of two camps.
Oh, definitely.
It's either, finally, about time someone did something, or it's a much more worried, hang on, what about the dogs themselves? Their welfare.
Right. No easy answers.
Absolutely not. It's definitely not black and white. To really get it, we need to look closely at both sides.
Okay, so let's start with just the sheer scale, because we're not talking about a few lost pets here.
Not at all.
We're looking at a massive population, estimated around 60 million stray dogs across India.
60 million. It's staggering.
And if you just focus on Delhi and the surrounding area, Delhi-NCR, we're talking lakhs, hundreds of thousands of them. These aren't fluffy pets who just wandered off, are they? They're tough, street-smart survivors. They know how to navigate the city.
They really do. But what becomes immediately critical here is the public health side of things. India, tragically, accounts for about 36% of all global rabies deaths.
36%. That's huge.
It is. Over 20,000 people die from it every year. And a huge chunk of those cases, they come directly from dog bites. So it forces this really difficult question, doesn't it? When animals, through no fault of their own really, become a serious public health threat, what's our responsibility? What's the right way forward?
And it's not an equal risk for everyone, is it?
Yeah.
It seems our most vulnerable people, kids, the elderly, they're hit hardest.
That's often the case, yes.
It turns places that should feel safe, like local parks or playgrounds, into potential danger zones. And that reality just ramps up the urgency to find some kind of solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And to understand how we got here, we really need to glance back a bit. The whole story of managing stray dogs in India, it's as old as our cities, really.
Right.
During the colonial period, the approach was pretty stark. Street dogs were mostly seen as pests, vermin almost, and that led to widespread culling.
A very different time, a different philosophy.
Completely. But after independence, things started to shift. There was this growing feeling, a move towards a more compassionate view of animal welfare.
And that wasn't just talk.
Yeah.
It led to actual laws changing.
Exactly. Like the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, the PCA Act back in 1960, that was fundamental. It basically banned causing unnecessary suffering to animals, laid completely new groundwork.
Okay.
And what's fascinating is how that compassion then got sort of baked into policy. The animal birth control dogs rules came in 2001 under that PCA Act.
Right, the ABC rules.
Yes, and they explicitly outlawed the killing of strays. Instead, they mandated what we now call trap, neuter, return, or TNR.
Catch, sterilize, vaccinate, release.
Precisely. The idea was humane control. Catch them, sterilize them so they can't reproduce, vaccinate them against rabies, crucially, and then release them back where they came from, their own territory.
And those rules were updated pretty recently, too, weren't they?
They were in 2023, just reinforcing that TNR and anti-rabies vaccination approach. It was, and technically still is, the official strategy.
Okay, so on paper, TNR sounds, well, incredibly humane, logical even. But if that's the case, why are we facing this crisis now? You mentioned the scale, the bites. Clearly, something's not working everywhere.
That's the million rupee question, isn't it? The policy is there, the intention is humane, but the implementation,
Yeah.
it's been incredibly patchy.
Patchy how? Like not enough resources?
Yeah.
Or just inconsistency?
Both, really. It's like trying to coordinate, I don't know, a massive, highly uncooperative flash mob across the entire country. You need funding, you need vets, you need local cooperation, you need public awareness. And getting all those pieces aligned consistently everywhere, it's a monumental task.
Yeah.
That gap between the policy ambition and the reality on the ground is exactly why things have escalated.
So, fast forward to recent years. Things have gotten even more urgent. You've got rapid urbanization.
For more people, more garbage.
Which for strays is basically an all-you-can-eat buffet, right? So populations boom.
Naturally.
And with more dogs, more people all crammed together, we've seen this sharp spike in attacks. Kerala, for instance, reports thousands of bites every year. And that leads to people demanding stricter controls, louder and louder.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
And the courts, they've definitely been involved before this latest round. Just last year, 2024, a Supreme Court bench was actually saying, look, local solutions are key. They were pushing petitions back to the high courts.
Okay.
But then, July 28th, 2025, things took a really dramatic turn. A two-judge bench, Justices Pardiwala and Mahadevan, they took what's called suo motu cognizance.
Meaning they took up the case themselves without anyone filing.
Exactly. They saw a news report, a pretty grim one, titled, City Hounded by Strays, Kids Pay Price. And they decided the court needed to step in directly.
And that report, what did it say?
It painted a really chilling picture. Hundreds of bites just in Delhi, infants, elderly people, tragically dying from rabies after being bitten. The bench called it extremely alarming.
Understandable.
And they moved fast, registered a case almost immediately. You could feel the sense of urgency from them.
Okay, so that leads us to the really big moment, August 11th, 2025.
Yes. That same bench issued what you can only really call a bombshell order.
Which was?
All stray dogs from all Delhi-NCR streets were to be relocated to shelters.
Permanently.
Permanently. No more TNR, no more releasing them back.
No more roaming, according to this order. They directed the authorities build shelters, a capacity for at least 5,000 dogs, and do it within 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow. That's a massive undertaking. Huge. And they even warned about contempt proceedings for anyone who tried to block the removal drive. They were serious.
And the language of the order, I heard it was pretty strong.
Very strong. It declared, quite bluntly, time has come to hold that stray dogs cannot be allowed on streets. Full stop.
And they had something sharp to say about people feeding strays too, right?
They did, almost preempting the counter-argument. They said, effectively, if you want to feed them in your own house if you're so large-hearted.
Oof, it's direct.
Very direct. A judicial bite, you might say, left very little room for interpretation about their stance at that moment.
So you can imagine the reaction. What happened next?
Predictably, a massive backlash, especially from animal lovers and welfare groups. People literally hit the streets. Protests, chanting, demanding the order be reversed. Connaught Place saw big demonstrations.
The passion must have been intense.
Absolutely palpable. And online, especially on X, formerly Twitter, it just exploded.
Digital firestorm.
Completely. You saw posts like, shame on the Supreme Court. How can a judge justify abandoning strays? Side by side with things like, finally, after years of fighting, the SC orders dogs to shelters, not where kids play.
So a city completely divided.
Starkly divided. Human safety advocates were cheering, saying, it's about time. Animal rights groups were crying foul, arguing this order completely ignored the existing 2001 ABC rules, the ones favoring TNR.
And tensions spilled over in real life, too. I heard about an incident.
Yeah, unfortunately. There was apparently a video that went viral showing a lawyer actually slapping a dog lover outside the court. It just shows how incredibly high emotions are running on this. It's not just a legal debate.
Clearly not.
Yeah.
So amid all this chaos, this escalating fight, what did the Chief Justice do?
Right, so Chief Justice B.R. Gavai stepped in on August 13th, just yesterday. A plea was mentioned before him from the Conference for Human Rights, India. They were basically saying, hey, the real problem is non-compliance with the existing sterilization programs.
They felt TNR could work if properly implemented.
That seemed to be their argument. And the Chief Justice listened and assured them he would personally look into it, which signaled, that the highest level of the court was aware of the conflict and the complexity.
And then just hours later, another twist.
Exactly. News came out that the case was being bumped up, moved to a larger three-judge bench. Justices Vikram Nath, Sandeep Mehta, and N.V. Anjaria. and scheduled for hearing August 14th today.
Why the quick upgrade to 3 judges? What's the significance?
Well, it seems to be about reconciliation. You had earlier benches leaning more towards compassion, emphasizing TNR. Then you had this very recent 2-judge order prioritizing human safety above all else, mandating removal.
So conflicting directions from within the court itself.
Precisely. Upgrading to a 3-judge bench suggests an attempt to harmonize these different judicial viewpoints, to find a more balanced, perhaps more legally sustainable path forward. They have the tough job now of weighing these competing principles.
Okay, so while we wait for that bench's decision, let's maybe zoom out a bit. How does this compare to what other places do? Are there global models that work?
That's a great question. We definitely see different strategies worldwide. Istanbul, for example, has a huge stray population too. They've really leaned into TNR, combined with massive vaccination campaigns, millions of dogs vaccinated.
And did it help?
Reports suggest it helped cut dog bites by about 50%. So it shows that a well-resourced, humane approach can make a dent, even with large populations.
Interesting. Any other examples?
Absolutely. Look at the Netherlands. They boast near-zero strays now. How? A combination of things. Strict laws on pet ownership, making abandonment difficult, plus mass sterilization programs over many years.
So a multi-pronged approach.
Very much so. And Bhutan, a Buddhist nation, is another fascinating case. They achieved 0 human rabies deaths through nationwide TNR, but combined with community engagement, like organized feeding initiatives, compassion and control working together.
And even within India, haven't there been local success stories with TNR?
Yes, definitely. Jaipur is often cited. They implemented robust vaccination and sterilization drives, and reports showed dog bites drop significantly, maybe around 70%. So it can work here, at least on a city level, when done consistently and properly.
But it's not all success stories, is it? What about approaches that haven't worked?
No, definitely not. Romania tried mass culling some years back. It was brutal, controversial, and ultimately backfired.
Backfired how?
Well, it comes down to massive investment, really. You need sustained funding. You need way more vets and trained animal handlers on the ground. You need robust infrastructure for sterilization and vaccination.
And public cooperation, presumably.
Absolutely critical. Widespread public awareness and education. Teaching kids, for example, basic dog safety, how not to provoke them. Encouraging pet owners, crucially, to spay or neuter their pets so they don't contribute to the stray population in the first place. It's systemic.
Yeah, that makes sense. The implications here are just huge, aren't they? On the health side.
Massive. Rabies alone costs India billions every year. Treatment costs, lost work days. It's a huge economic burden on top of the human tragedy.
And on the welfare side, if the solution does involve shelters, like that August 11th order suggested,
then those shelters have to be humane, not just dumping grounds. They need proper space, food, vet care, exercise. Otherwise, you're just swapping one form of suffering for another. It raises big questions for urban planning, too. Well, how do we actually design our cities, our neighborhoods, so that humans and animals can coexist more peacefully? Can we create designated feeding zones, more accessible sterilization clinics, better waste management so there's less food lying around? It's about rethinking shared spaces.
it feels like it's not just about rules and regulations then, but about forging some kind of new social contract, a peace treaty maybe, in our cities.
That's a good way to put it. A peace treaty that genuinely considers both human safety and animal well-being.
So as we wrap up, that three-judge bench is convening, potentially right now. Fireworks are definitely expected, right? The whole country's watching. Will they uphold that dramatic relocation order? Or will they pivot back towards TNR, maybe demanding stricter enforcement this time?
It's the critical question.
This whole deep dive into India's stray dog dilemma, it's just such a powerful reminder, isn't it, of this incredibly delicate balance we're constantly trying to strike, compassion for animals versus the fundamental need for safe communities.
It really is. And ultimately, in a country as vibrant, as complex as India, with all its traditions and its modern pressures all mixed together, this situation forces us to ask some really fundamental questions. Like what does it truly mean to coexist in a shared space? Especially when the inhabitants, human and animal, have such different needs, different instincts. What responsibility do we actually carry for every life within our cities or urban sprawl? And how do we live up to that responsibility without putting others at risk? It's certainly no walk in the park.